So today I am going to pose a question to all of you using some content from what we saw at the RNC. Is it time that the Republican Party made its big tent a little bit smaller? I would like to know your feedback on this based on what we're about to see. So as we know, RNC is going on in Milwaukee right now, and the Republican Party has always prided itself on being, like I said, the big tent party, the group that anybody can join. Anyone can get in as long as you share conservative values that, you know, align with whatever the party happens to stand for that year, which is usually what the Democrats stood for 10 years ago, but that's neither here nor there. So they laid out their platform, and now, as always, the convention is wide open. They want people from all walks of life coming in to participate in this thing they call American conservatism. But my question, and the question a lot of people are asking after seeing this last convention, is have we opened that tent up a little bit too much? Is there some stuff coming in now that doesn't necessarily align with what the party actually stands for? I want to go over some of the clips we have seen so far and get your feedback on that to see if, you know, we as, you know, people who tend to lean a little bit more conservative on things can reach some sort of consensus, because it's really been a dividing issue right now. Let's roll with this first one. We have JD Vance, who we talked about on the last episode. Amy gave us a breakdown of some of his history and background. This is what Vance had to say right after he was named as Trump's vice presidential pick.
A lot of people recognize that we need to do something with Iran, but not these weak little bombing runs. If you're going to punch the Iranians, you punch them hard, and that's what he did when he took out Soleimani. By the way, that action, people said that it would lead to broader war. It actually brought peace. It actually checked the Iranians and slowed them down a little bit. But let me just say something about this Iran issue, because maybe the most important diplomatic breakthrough of the Trump administration was the Abraham Accords. If you want to check Iran, the way to do it is to, one, withdraw their oil money, which of course Joe Biden's been bad about, but you've also got to enable the Israelis and the Sunni Arab states to work together and actually provide a counterbalance to Iran. Joe Biden has done nothing. You have the infrastructure there, sitting there, to weaken Iran, to strengthen our ally Israel. Joe Biden's done nothing with it. Donald Trump would reinvigorate it. I think
Yeah. So right there, that was one of the first big things that caused controversy, because as he said at the beginning, he's calling to hit Iran hard.
Well, I didn't have a problem with his dissection of the killing of Soleimani, who died like a dog. Remember that?
No, that was Abu.
Oh, that was a different guy.
Yeah.
Don't cry, Abu.
Okay,
Remember?
I'm sorry. I got my terrorists mixed up on that one. I didn't mind that portion of it because he was praising Trump showing strength in the Middle East and how that led to the Abraham Accords. I didn't like when the ugly neocon part came out, where we're now back to having people, especially the vice presidential candidate. And now, I mean, that point, we've talked about that. This pick means more than ever, considering what took place less than a week ago, 6 days ago in Pennsylvania with Trump being shot. Now you're looking at what could possibly be the future of the Republican Party, and what that looks like is more foreign wars, which is what I thought we were trying to get out of.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, so I agree. I think that the reason they hate him so much, the reason they hated JFK so much, the reason that a lot of these presidents that have gotten blowback is because of, you know, the quick one-time strike, getting respect from the rest of the world, and not like dragging it out, making it a long duration thing where you have to spend a lot of money and throw a lot of money at the problem. Because, you know, the military industrial complex hates a quick solution to a problem. They want a situation where you're dragging it out, like whether it was the end of World War II where we stopped pushing ahead against Russia, we let Russia consolidate and regain strength. That became a whole 30-year Cold War thing. And then when the Soviet Union collapsed, instead of making a peace deal with Russia, we formed NATO and made NATO take aggressive action against Russia and, you know, encroach upon it, put missiles next to it. So they like these situations where you could create and like muster up a conflict rather than like a one-time solution. And I think Trump wasn't even thinking in those terms. So he was just doing what was a logical thing to do to a one-time show of force that puts an end to a situation. But they obviously hated that.
So are you saying that JD Vance is trying to further the military-industrial complex by waging war against Iran?
I'm not sure that he's that deep into it yet, but I think that his instinct is right to show force, but I just hope it's the type of force that that Trump was showing, where it's like a one-time strike and we're not like sending resources to the Middle East. Like we're like a logical approach where we put sanctions on, show force one time.
Humberto, you're a former resident of the Middle East, right? At one point you lived in, I'm not allowed to say what countries you've lived in, but you've lived abroad. Your opinion of J.D. Vance calling for us to go to war with Iran?
I'm glad he's vice president. That's all I want to say. The thing is that this view of Iran and the solutions they're presenting to solve the thing. When I first came here to the United States, I stayed as a foreign student with an Iranian family. I work for an Iranian guy. I know that the culture and the building blocks of Iranian society is absolutely wonderful. We have things to learn from them. They have tradition. They have values, and this I don't know, this view they have of Iran and the solutions they present is absolutely ridiculous. People do not understand how big Iran is. They don't understand that if we went old school CIA, do a little change of regime there, that would be enough. But some people, especially big part of the Republican Party and a huge part of the Democrat Party, their goal is to destroy Iran. And it's not like national, like global security is not their first concern. This goes beyond of what is reasonable for the United States. That would be to have a stable Iran with a republic established there. We know the forces in Iran right now, they're moving. There's enough tension, and with a little push, we could have an Iran to work as an ally instead of an Iran that can, they can start a nuclear war. So I think the motives of this rhetoric, it scares the hell out of me. And I hope Trump lasts the whole administration, because having a guy that talks like this willy-nilly about something that can lead to a world war and the complete obliteration of America is just scary.
But, okay, so help me understand. So why are you happy that he's the pick then?
Because the vice president is the most useless position in government. They hold no power.
So if you could have had any
Unless
pick...
he dies.
True, correct. He is the second in line to succession. And now what we've talked about is that J.D. Vance becomes the next generation of the Republican Party, which by those comments alone scares the shit out of, or crap out of me, because I fear that now the new age, the new generation of the Republican Party is just more foreign wars, which again goes back to my point of I thought we were trying to stop that. I thought we were trying to bring our troops back home instead of putting them in other situations where now we're fighting globally again, especially because Iran then look at the relationships Iran has with China, that Iran has with Russia. Are we instigating World War III by going and attacking Iran?
Rob, I think Connor can elaborate on it, but all I can say, we've been botching a relationship with Iran for external reasons since the 70s, okay? It's hard to measure, but there's more than 40%, 50% of the Iranian population that hates the mullahs. That's how they call the religious extremists. And they would like to have a republic. If you look at Iran in the 60s and you look at Iran in the 70s, right before they got in, like it was a beautiful country.
Yes, we've showed photos of it. It looks like a vacation place.
So you have really smart people that are really good at math, really good at engineering, really good at science. Most of them want to live a free life. But when the foreign policy of the United States is to destroy Iran, not to change it, it's to destroy Iran, like it makes me wonder what's behind it.
Well, part of the problem too is that there's not a suitable leader that's willing to step up for Iran too. Like I was really bummed out when Reza came here and he said that he wasn't willing to go back and become the leader, because
sad.
like he's the equivalent of what Trump is to Iran. Like you see a polling, like he said, Iran, like most of the country wants a new leader. They want a democracy or a republic, not this dictatorship that they have. But there's not a lot of recognizable names that the whole country could get behind. So to have a real revolution, you need a name that you could get behind. So like, all right, yeah, we'll put it all on the line if this guy's willing to step up. But he seems to want no part of it. I mean, I can't even. If somebody overthrew my family that was running a country, like there's nothing I'd want more than to like go back and get vengeance on them and reclaim the country, because the guy basically has the entire country captive right now under a dictator regime where people are suffering. So that's the biggest thing too, is you need a suitable leader that because you're right, like it'll be a destabilizing force in the Middle East for as long as this administration or whatever you want to call it dictatorship is in place, and they need a revolution, but they need a suitable leader for that.
This has been the policy for years.
Well, this form of government,
and it's not in the best interest of the United States.
This form of government, as long as this form of government's in place there, it's going to be a destabilizing force in the Middle East. Because when we took those sanctions off, that's why the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah, that's why they had enough money to do what they're doing now.
Brandon, I said this before. The dollar is not a weapon. And it has never worked.
They were hurting, though, when we had sanctions on them.
They don't hurt enough. You have Cuba that's been under sanctions for almost 100 years now. They've been under sanctions. Life goes on. It goes on differently. But the more you use the US dollar as a weapon, the less effective it is. Wars, they're fought with weapons, with guns, with helicopters, with drones, whatever you want to throw at it. One side kills the other side. But trying to use the US dollar as a weapon, it's going to hit us in the back. It's already happening with BRICS. It's already happening with inflation. And this doesn't work. We've seen it. It's been 100 years of sanctions in some places, 60 years in some places, 40 years in some places, 2 years on Russia.
Here's the thing.
And their money's growing stronger. They're reactivating their industrial sector. So I think this is bad policy. It's embarrassing. And I think he should just stand there next to Trump. I don't think he's a terrible VP, but I don't know. This is scary rhetoric.
I'd love to continue this conversation and figure out a way to bring peace to the Middle East. However, it has not been successful as of yet, and I know that Connor has a lot of videos to play. So, Connor,
Yes.
I'll go back to you. I know that you were trying to weigh in. If you want to weigh in on what Humberto was saying, and then we'll roll to the next clip.
But real quick, actually, I just wanted to kick it over to Kelly real quick. Give us your take on Vance, because I know you like Vance from what you've mentioned in the past.
I do like Vance. I appreciated his honesty when he way back when he said he didn't like Trump, because I feel like a lot of us struggle with Trump throughout his presidency and throughout his time here. But I appreciate that he's also able to come back from that, and he's like on board. And I think it's important to have someone on your team that you might have disagreed with before, and that now you've come to certain solutions. Someone that are not afraid to push back and challenge you, not just yes you to death. I feel like a lot of people probably yes Trump to death, so I'm happy about that. And believe me, I learned my lesson last episode, so I'll leave the war to the boys.
Well, you might get drafted now, though, so watch out.
I mean, I'll do it.
How dare you assume our genders?
I'm actually a pretty good shot. So there's that. But yeah, I'll leave the war to the boys.
And you might be tall enough to cover the front of Trump's head if they're trying to get out of a crisis area.
I'm 5'7", so I'm pretty tall for a girl, but I'm the shortest in my family actually. But I'll just coordinate from the back. I'll hide and be like, okay, we're going here, guys.
The last one they had shielding his head looked like one of those 5'3" and an attitude types.
So it's a whole thing.
But anyway, you might be able to weigh in a little bit more on this one.
Probably.
Because the next significant thing we saw coming out of the RNC was that Amber Rose, that woman who rose to prominence by sleeping with rappers and then likes to claim to be a rapper herself. And on that note, I actually need to point out, because I wrote the article talking about how she was, named as one of the keynote speakers. Rapper, model, and social media personality Amber Rose.
Yeah.
And everybody in the comments were like, whatever idiot wrote this clearly doesn't. She's not a rapper. She's put out like 4 rap songs. She calls herself a rapper. I never said she was good. I never said she was successful. I said that's what she called herself. So all of you are wrong. Fight me. But anyway, she was allowed to speak as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to show a segment of her speech too.
Sorry.
I realize Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong.
asking her, she was saying that she was asking her dad, how could you support Trump? And he's like, do me a favor, just go do your research and then see how you feel after that. And that's what turned her, I believe.
Yeah, but
Yes,
isn't
so-
there anybody else that, no offense to her, I'm sure that she's a very lovely gal. And I know who Amber Rose is because I'm a male. I have sexual needs.
Oh, okay. Just say it.
I masturbated to Amber Rose. Is that what you want me to yell? Fine, I've done it. I know who she is. I don't know if she is necessarily the best representation because when you bring out people like this, then you just give ammo to the left to mock us.
Here's the thing,
Or
though.
to mock, I don't even want to, I try and be impartial, to mock the right because you're bringing out a girl who is known for, like you said, sleeping with rappers, right? She got famous because she was talking about Kanye West liking fingers in his booty hole.
And don't forget the Los Angeles slut walk.
Yes, she was part of
Yes.
the slut walk, which, again, okay, but feminism, yay. Look how that's worked out. No offense, Kelly. We can take a look at what happened last Saturday and go, well, maybe not. Women aren't equal in every capacity.
Here's
a lot of them, yes, but certain ones,
Here's
no.
the thing, though. So she's a demographic. Like, everybody out here is a demographic, and she represents a certain subset of people who, I
Skanks or I'm sorry, reform
Well,
skanks. Is that the demographic?
No, let's just say black women. I mean, I literally
She's
have
black.
Half,
Yeah.
which is about as close
Guys,
as the
there's a
Republicans
million
want to get.
black
Okay.
women that they could have found that used to be Democrats that turned around and
So-
came Republican and used. That is not the the woman comes out with forehead tattoos. Like none of that. Just it all looks like a bad look on the RNC.
Point being, she represents, like, I literally have not seen a black woman say that they're voting for Biden in the last 6, 7, 8 months. So they say this number, it's gone from 7% to 20% since 2020. I think that's BS. I think 80% of black people are ready to vote for Trump.
Kelly.
Have you met Candace Owens?
Of course.
Just curious.
That's why she's so popular, because she was the first one to come out and boldly say it, and she got eviscerated for it at first.
There's not no one. But so here's the thing. It's actually a very Christian move to take a reformed person to show their redemption story.
Slut. I mean, she was the one that was at the slut walk. She called herself a slut.
And as far
She's a
as I-
reform slut.
Sluts for
Yeah,
Trump.
and as far as I know, that's like still her thing. She's just Republican now. I mean, I would rather it be a good, God-respecting, family-oriented person. But that's not to say she's not in other respects. And again, it's a very Christian move to have someone that's relatable. Jesus loved sinners. We all sat down next to sinners. We're not perfect, and I think the Republican Party embraces that more than the Democratic Party does. You're wrong in the Democratic Party. You're fucking canceled. Sorry.
Which
Every 8 minutes in.
But what's interesting about that is that has flip-flopped in the past 20 years because
Sure.
it felt when I was growing up, it felt like the Republicans were the ones that were against gay marriage. They were against abortion. They were against stem cell research.
Yep.
They weren't progressive. And they were the ones that were, if you didn't have our cult-like mentality, you don't belong in this party. In the past 20 years, those parties have flipped. Whereas now the Republican Party is the party of you can be gay, you can be black, you can be trans and support. And we're okay with that. It's the left that's like, hey, if you're not trans, you're not in this party anymore. You don't belong with us.
Yeah.
So, like, the party of compassion and understanding, oddly enough, is no longer the Democrats. It's actually the Republicans.
And what's very interesting that I need to point out is that this is exactly the debate that broke out because of Amber Rose being included. The fight over whether she's actually even reformed. Because just earlier this year, she was doing an interview where she was praising the Satanic Temple for opening its own abortion clinics to allow women to keep access to it in states where it might have been banned.
Even worse than that she's at the RNC if she's not reformed in that respect, because we are not for abortion and we don't uphold those values in this party.
But did you see the RNC platform they put out before the convention started? I printed out a copy and was sharing it with Humberto earlier.
I don't think I
They
saw it.
put out their new list of platform policies. You know, it's a bunch of things spelled out in a list of 20 and then like 5 or 6 pages of write-ups. What they have done now is embrace the Republican Party's most open-handed approach to abortion that it's ever had. Because now they have made Trump's stance on abortion the official policy, which is every state gets to decide for itself. That's all Trump wants. Trump opposes a federal ban, which for a long time was the Republican platform. The Republicans, in their party document every 4 years, said, We're calling for a blanket federal ban on abortion.
Well, I personally like that because I think a federal ban politically is suicide. I mean, aside from that, I think it's foolish to do that because there are situations where abortion is definitely justified. You know, it's a terrible, horrible thing when it ever happens, but it's the less of two evils between a federal ban and situationally making it legal. I think situationally making it legal is the lesser of the two evils between an outright federal ban because of certain situations.
And that's this other ongoing debate over that subject. But like I mentioned earlier this year, Amber Rose was saying, hey, when the Church of Satan opened its own abortion clinics to use religious rights exemptions to get around state bans, that was a good thing. And she was happy that it gave women access to that. So the fact that she still has an ongoing OnlyFans page that appears...
Sorry, no, that's not what I was... I
stumbled upon
Googled
something?
how many abortions has Amber Rose had, and then it said 46 celebrities who have had abortions.
Oh my God.
She should not be having that many abortions.
Stop.
Well,
One is too many in some people's opinion.
but
It is.
her active OnlyFans page is currently running a discount, apparently, for anyone who uses like a Trump-related code to get the discount.
What's that
Again,
code?
I'm not.
I'm not going to tell you that, Rob.
Okay, never mind.
Again, I'm not for this. I would but it doesn't hurt my feelings. And again, in the JD Vance thing as well, I think it's interesting to see how many people are so fed up with the current government that we have and the current policies that we have and the inflation that we have. So now they're like, I got to go Republican and I got to vote Trump. It's my only choice.
Well, she's okay. So I understand the strategical reason for having her, and I didn't before, but now I'm digging in and I'm seeing that her Instagram account has 24.3 million people.
Boom.
You know what her photo is? It's the funniest photo I've ever seen.
No.
It's she took Donald Trump's face and put it on Eazy-E's face from Friday, or I'm sorry, from NWA, and not Ice Cube, but actual Eazy-E, because he's got the curls coming out. It's Trump's face with black curls, sunglasses, and the Make America Great Again hat, but it looks like the LA Raiders hat. So I understand strategically why having her there is important. She taps into a voter base that the Republicans may not have tapped into, reform sluts and other Instagram hoes. So now I understand why they had it. Would I have chosen her? Probably not, but that's why I'm here and not in charge of the RNC. We have less than 2 minutes to go. So what other videos do you have,
Can you play that one,
Humberto,
please?
any thoughts on Amber Rose before we move on, or should I roll our last clip?
I want to roll the last clip because
So
I want
this
to be mad.
was probably the biggest issue. I'm sorry, go back one more. Yes. So this is Harmeet Dhillon. She is a RNC attorney. She was a Trump legal advisor for a long time. By all accounts, a very strong, solid conservative.
Yeah, they said she was actually going before they named Laura Trump as the head of the RNC. The reports were that Harmeet Dhillon was.
Yeah, the last time they had an actual RNC election, she was very close to ousting Ronna McDaniel before Ronna ultimately resigned and was replaced with Laura Trump and the other people Trump brought in. But Harmeet Dhillon is also a Sikh. And during closing benedictions on the first day, they had, I believe, a Catholic priest got up and gave a traditional prayer to close out the RNC. And then Harmeet came out and spoke after that.
Yeah.
Here's her prayer.
So आज्ञाकारी तुम्हारी गत मित तुम ही जानी नानक दास सदा कुर्बानी. Dear Waheguru, our one true God, we thank you for creating America as a unique haven on this earth where all people are free to worship according to their faith. We seek your blessings and guidance for our beloved country. Please bless our people with wisdom as they vote in the upcoming election, and please bless with humility, honesty, skill, and integrity all those who conduct the election.
So, to make a disclaimer here, according to the Sikh faith, if you ask a Sikh, they say they pray to the same God that the other major world religions do. You know, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. They say it's all the same God, and they are also praying to that deity. The other religions would obviously tend to disagree with that, but that's what the Sikhs say. So, according to their stance, when she came out and prayed to Waheguru as the one true God, she was merely acknowledging the same God that the other major American faiths do. But that set off a huge wave of backlash of, some
Why?
people saying this Eastern pagan religion has no place on stage in a Christian country. Other people saying America's not a Christian country. The Republican Party isn't just for Christians. We have to have it open to everybody. And I'm curious for feedback. Humberto, we'll start with you because we missed you on that last one.
Kelly, you said that having Amber Rose is a very Christian thing. That is a very Protestant thing, okay?
Amber Rose?
Yeah.
Jesus sat with sinners. Jesus broke bread with sinners. He loves
But listen to
the
me.
sinner.
Listen to me. The conservative movement in general has this problem that they're so apologetic to the left that they want to have a DEI fest on top of the stage. They want to bring people. The thing is, Henry Kissinger, like everyone heard the saying, like, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Okay? That's the saying.
Yeah.
Henry Kissinger argued against it because if you become friends with the enemy of your enemy, you create very unstable, like temporary alliances. Seeing this thing and how things are shaping up, everyone was hyped that Trump's government was going to be the end of like the government of the century. And what I'm seeing right now with JD Vance, Amber Rose being included, this pagan ritual at the end of the thing, that this is at best is going to be a transitional government. Like, we need to understand here that the United States we are guarding the Western tradition. We're guarding the Western way of life. We're moving forward in that sense.
I am 100% strong and confident in my faith as a Christian that I'm not threatened by someone else in my party having a different faith than me. And that is what America is founded on, freedom for all people. So if you have a different faith, Adam's Jewish. If this person worships a pagan god, he is Jewish. If you're gay, if you're straight, I accept you and I love you because I am a Christian and that is what I am called to do. Do our values align 100%? No. Am I part of a republic that chooses what laws we follow based on our differences? Yes. So just because I'm in the Republican Party, it's not purely Christian. We are open to other faiths as well that follow values. Not every faith is the same. Not every Christian faith is the same. So are we going to say only Catholics can go up on stage?
No, I'm not saying, but Christians in general. What do you know about the Sikh faith?
I know nothing.
You know nothing. And we're putting people that were openly for abortion. We're being weak on all the things that will get this country to the next level. Like, I've been to India. I have really good Indian friends. I see them pursuing their faith and everything. But having this as a closing word for the Republican Party, like, I think is offensive. Like, I think it's offensive.
Why is it offensive? Explain to me why it's offensive. Why is it offensive? Because it differs from your beliefs?
No. It's not a difference from my beliefs. It's a difference with how.
Because you think it's a show. They picked her because she's Indian. She has a different faith, and they want to seem.
She's a solid lawyer. She's a solid woman. Tremendous
Then what's wrong with that?
But I think
you just said she has conservative values. She's a wonderful woman. She's somebody that women should look up to. But just because she practices a different faith and said a different prayer other than our Father, then this is a sham.
I think she had more things to say about conservative principles, the lawfare, a bunch of other things than having everyone there that is majority Christian have to go through a prayer that is foreign to them. That's my take.
What percent of our country is that religion off the top of your head? Do you know?
I think Christians right now is...
No, I know Christian is like over 50%, but was it
Sikh?
Sikh?
I don't think
is
they
it
will
single
make
digits?
more. Yeah, it probably...
0.08% of the total American population. This according to 2020 estimates. So maybe it exploded when a bunch of people came over the border. I'm not sure.
That's what's offensive to me, though.
I know all the Sikhs are in Canada.
Because that's not representative of the country. Like, if it was like a 50% Christian, 20% something else.
Who cares? You go to a wedding, everybody blesses the union, right? Like, people are like, bless you from whatever faith. They give blessings for, they want you to succeed. They want you to be successful. They want love. They want good things for you.
What if they played the Mexican national anthem, though, like at the RNC?
That's different. That's our country is what unites us all. There is nothing that divides us because we all live here in our country. Our faith is different. We live in America. American flag, American anthem, whatever. But your faith is different. And I don't care that other faiths were represented and they gave a blessing for the Republican Party. No problem.
have strong
Thank you.
I'd love to
Thank
continue
you.
arguing this. We could go on all day, but just like we can't solve peace in the Middle East, we are certainly not going to solve the separation of church and state in the United States either.